Hi, I'm Doug McKinlay and you're watching Adorama TV. For this episode, we're going to do a little night shooting. And we're here on the north bank of the River Thames in London, and we've got lots and lots of things to choose from. Everything's being lit up really nicely, not only by just the illumination of the buildings with their lights, but also there's a bit of light left in the sky from the sun. It's quite twilighty, which is my favorite time to shoot because we still got that punchy sky in the backdrop. I find this kind of photography really calming because you're in one spot, you don't have to run around, you don't have to worry about losing all your kit or worrying about all your kit. You just set up, choose the lens you want to choose the ISO you want to choose, and then just have a shot. Now, at the moment, the camera's set at manual, everything's on manual, and I'm about to lock up the mirror so that takes any kind of camera shake. And at the same time, we have to set the timer on the camera to at least a 2-second timer. So that way, when the shutter releases, your hands are nowhere near the camera. Therefore, it's going to give you the stablest environment for the picture you can have. So this longer lens is allowing me to bring in the backgrounds a lot. And because there's still a bit of light left in the sky, my exposure at 100 ISO is at f11, so lots of depth of field, is at 2.5 seconds. So I don't have to worry about using the shutter release at the moment because that only comes into play if the exposure is more than 30 seconds. Don't forget to cover the back up. You can use the little gizmo on the strap, or you can use your hand. And that gives us our first image. Now it's a little off, so I'm going to try it again. So that's looking a little better. Now there's a few different ways of shooting night pictures. Now you can do it in absolute darkness where you've just got the buildings, the lights from the buildings illuminating your subject. You'll get that black sky, which is great because it stands right out. You can also shoot them when you've got a little bit of a difference in the light from the sky to, say, the foreground or the bottom part of the frame, where the sky might be a lot brighter than the bottom part, so therefore you can do it in two different ways. You can either use a graduated neutral density filter to try and even the light out, or you can bracket the shot where you've got an exposure of 1 or 2 stops over what the meter's telling you and 1 or 2 steps below what the meter's telling you. That should take in the difference between the mid-tone, the highlights, and the lowlights, and then you can combine those in the computer either in Photoshop or in Lightroom. It's a very simple, straightforward thing to do these days. Lightroom just does it for you now. In the old days, it was a little more complicated, but now it's pretty straightforward. We'll just try another one. Actually, I'm going to change the shot this time because I've got St. Paul's Cathedral way in the background, and in the foreground I've got Waterloo Bridge, and I'm going to get some buses going across that. Maybe, even with any luck, we'll blur them out. So we're going to move on down to the London Eye and try and put some even greater movement in our pictures. So we've moved along the river a little bit with the London Eye behind me for our next subject. Only about 150 meters or so. So like most major cities, there's lots and lots of things to shoot at night in London. Down the river we got Tower Bridge, the Shard Building, the Tex-Mex Building, which is a great Art Deco building on this side of the river. So any city, I think, any modern city around the world is going to have all this great architecture to use as your subject, and with any luck, a little bit of movement, say, from cars or buses or whatever. So in this shot, I've changed lenses. I've gone down to a smaller lens, a 24-70 short or medium-sized zoom lens. I'm still shooting at around f11, f16 at 100 ISO because I want maximum depth of field and maximum kind of clarity. The one thing you should be careful of, though, is getting too much noise in the shadows. So if you start using higher ISOs, for instance, if you don't have a tripod, there's a good chance you'll get some digital noise in the dark spots. So we set the camera again to 2-second timer. I'm still only at a 20-second exposure, so I don't have to really worry about a cable release yet. And I've got the mirror locked up to reduce any kind of camera shake. Now you can focus manually, but a really good way of doing this is to set the camera to live view. To set the camera to live view by pressing the live view button. And at the moment you can't really see this, but we're going to change the exposure so we can see our subject. And then I'm going to press the zoom button, and that's a 5 times zoom. We can go as close as 10 times. Then I can manually adjust the focus so that it's dead on. Because at night it can be a little difficult to see what's actually in focus. Press that button again, we'll come out of it, and we'll turn off the live view, and then we'll reset our exposure. So it's still a 20-second exposure. Now with this 20-second exposure, what I would recommend, instead of putting your hand up here to block the light coming through the viewfinder, this time use the little gizmo that's attached to your camera strap, or indeed if your camera has a little shutter door on the eyepiece. Stick it on there so that it blocks any kind of wayward light coming in from the back. If I can actually get it on there. Helps if I put it on the right way. There we go. So we're all set. And once you're ready to go, it's just a matter of pressing the button and letting the camera do the work. Now we've got a 20-second exposure, and we're going to wait for it to work. Now in the meantime, I think the key to night shooting is indeed finding the right locations, finding those subjects that are going to work for you, what you're trying to get. We're trying to get a bit of motion and also a little bit of static shots with our stuff tonight. So buildings that got no motion in front of them, just their bright lights, and other ones like this one, where we got that London eye. It looks like it's not moving to the naked eye, but it actually is moving. I think it's half an hour for a revolution, but using a long exposure, in this case 20-second exposure, should indeed give us an interesting picture. So I think that's it for night photography. Now, if you follow these simple steps, tripod for a stable environment, picking the right subjects, doing a little recce in your own city to find those great subjects, you too are going to get some really great pictures. So thanks for watching. I'm Doug McKinlay for Adorama TV. And don't forget, you can subscribe to Adorama TV for more great videos, and tell us what you think. You can like, comment, or share these videos. And please stop by the Adorama Learning Center for more great tips and tricks.